You are Locked On Bulls Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Chicago on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Bulls Postcast here. Joe George here with you as always, recapping these Bulls games on the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're talking all things Bulls, Bears, Cubs, Notre Dame, and the Bulls lose 109-97 to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers move now a game and a half out of the final play-in position. So as the Bulls season continues to unravel and head towards tank mode, it was a disaster of a fourth quarter. Unbelievable performance from the Bulls, things that you never see in the NBA. The Bulls were all over the place doing them. The paint problems continued for this team, and we'll do the best and worst at the end of the show as we have been doing lately. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So the fourth quarter, look, this game's okay. It's 60-53 at the end of the half. The Bulls outscore the 76ers then 30-20 in the third. So okay, the Bulls got a shot at winning this thing. And then the fourth quarter is brutal. 29-14 in the fourth quarter. The Bulls are outscored. A bad effort. And really a bad performance a lot of the night. Look, this is a team without Joel Embiid. This is a team without their rookie Jared McCain, was really good for them this season. And Paul George, even though it took them a while to announce what actually happened to him, hurt his finger in the first half and didn't play the second half. He played 42 seconds in the second quarter, actually. So he only played in the first quarter. So it's not like Paul George, who started this game off really strong for the 76ers, scoring 7 of the first 11 for Philly. He wasn't out there, and he wasn't the problem. Tyrese Maxey was the problem, and again, the story that I think we just kind of get at this point, right? The Bulls are the problem. It's not just Tyrese Maxey that he was going off tonight and had another 30-point performance where he's been killing it lately and really was good from the beginning to the very end of this game. Kelly Oubre, still in the league, like getting buckets over Vooch, getting clutch threes there in the fourth quarter. But the Bulls are the problem in this game. Of course they're the problem. Look, they scored 28 points in the first quarter, okay? 20 of those points were in the paint. So the game starts off, and they do what works well for them. They go to Vooch, they go to the paint, and they're in the basketball game. And then they're just like, screw it. Why would we do the things that work so well for us? Why would we do that? Why on a night when Joel Embiid and the 76ers are a small team would you not continue to get the ball to Nikola Vucevic, who only took, I think, 11 shots on the game tonight? But look, they scored 20 points in the first quarter in the paint. They scored 24 the rest of the game. They get outscored by 10 points in the paint to a team that is small, that doesn't have their best players, and really it's just like shouldn't be a challenge for you offensively or defensively, honestly. And look, 54 points isn't that much on defense, but you only scored 44 points yourself. And of course, the problem again in this game, like we've seen multiple times this season, 20 turnovers. I think the worst part about the turnovers tonight, a lot of them were just terrible. If you look at the fourth quarter alone, I mean, I get Zach Lavine's point. Like, they don't call carries that often, but the Bulls had a carry and a shot clock violation in which they all were just standing around, and Zach Lavine is in the paint trying to do maybe like the Kobe turnaround fadeaway, but he just ends up not getting the shot up in time. So in the fourth quarter, you've got a carry violation, you've got a shot clock violation, you got Josh Giddey running down the court. He just throws the ball over his shoulder, which is a cool play when it works. It doesn't work, and the Philadelphia 76ers get an easy transition point. And look, they just dominated you in the fourth. Guys that, like, your starters are out there. Billy Donovan took a different approach to this game, which I did think was interesting. At the beginning, he decided that because he wanted to reserve Lonzo's minutes, he would only play the first, 4.5 minutes of the first quarter, and then he checked out before coming back in at the very end of the first. So they tried something a little different there, but they just played terrible basketball. And Patrick Williams, he continues to be a really poor performer. I totally agree with Zach here, and we'll mention this every show until they do it. Zach says here in the chat, right as the show started, trade this team, just end this misery. I know they want to trade Patrick Williams, going 1 for 9 from the field and having 2 points in a basketball game and only 4 rebounds when your coach is telling you he wants you to be more effective on the glass against a small basketball team, probably not increasing the Patrick Williams trade stock. I can't even imagine, honestly, what a Patrick Williams trade would look like at this point. I mean, it is a straight up salary dump. But like, why would a good team want him? Why would a bad team want him? The Bulls don't want him. They're a bad team. Like why would anyone want him? He just takes bad shots and just can't dribble. He can't do anything right. So I think you're kind of stuck with him. But the fourth quarter is really just where, again, this thing totally unraveled. The Bulls went 3 minutes without scoring. And even though they went 3 minutes without scoring, like think about how the way the fourth quarter played out. Being outscored by that much. They go 3 minutes without scoring. Lonzo Ball checks back in. He hits a three, and it puts the Bulls back down by 2, which is then immediately followed up by a terrible turnover that led to a Kelly Oubre 3. So like even when like they're trying to get things back and going in the right direction, they just can't do it. And they had a good third quarter. I mean, they went on a 14-0 run in the fourth, and it put the Bulls up by 7 points. And you had a good turnover by Josh Giddey. He knocks the ball away, and then Vooch was able to grab it. They threw it up the court, and they were able to get a bucket there. You had that really strange Josh Giddey play where he like gets the ball knocked out of his hands, jumps up, grabs it, puts it back in, gets the and one. So the third quarter, it's like if you look at the momentum, if you think of like a momentum swing, like it's all going right for the Bulls. But the fourth quarter just can't score. And Zach Lavine, who again, like talk about trade stock and where this team can or cannot go. Zach Lavine not scoring as your team is just getting pummeled in the fourth quarter until there's less than a minute and a half left in the basketball game. It's not winning basketball. He's your best player. Like, give him the ball. Give Vooch the ball. I don't understand how the Bulls can play these long stretches in which Vooch and Lavine don't score, don't shoot. It's very strange. That seems to be a more recent development with this team. You think about the other night where Lavine didn't take a shot until late into the first half. And then to go the entire fourth quarter where, again, just you're not even ripping a shot when you're trying to win a basketball game. Because as much as we all want the Bulls to tank, and the Bulls need to tank, and the Bulls need to trade everyone, the players don't want to tank. Like, they're not out there playing like with the intention to lose. They're just playing terrible basketball. And that's what we saw tonight from the Chicago Bulls. But they also continue just to do the things that drive me nuts. And that's when things are working, they completely bail on them for no good rhyme or reason. Vooch, the paint, and getting killed in the paint without Joel Embiid. We'll talk more about that here in the next segment. Because even, on the outside with Jalen Smith, he saw a good performance in the first half from him. And then he, again, also gets kind of MIA in the second half. So we'll get into that next here on the Locked On Bulls postcast on the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this NFL playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So 20 points of the first 28, the first quarter, all in the paint. The Bulls are dominating the paint. They're going to Vooch early. They're attacking the rim. Things are going well. This game is starting strong in the paint for the Bulls. I cannot believe that any fan watching, Stacey King, as he points out all the time on the broadcast, and Adam Amin, why we could all see something that works so well for the Chicago Bulls, and the players and Billy Donovan just said, F it. Like we're not gonna keep doing that. We're just gonna start ripping shots. They're 2 for 7 in the first quarter from the 3-point line, so they are trying to shoot from the 3-point line. But they're not really going, they're not ripping threes constantly. Now, in the second quarter, like Jalen Smith, he, in the first half, he has 9 points. I think it was 2 of his 3 threes came in the second quarter. Maybe all 3 of them, actually, now that I think about it, came in the second. But, like, you're seeing this team, attack well in the paint, as I get an Amber Alert on my phone. Like, they're attacking well in the paint, and then they just stop. And it's just, in this game, like it's always frustrating. And this is something that I feel like it has to keep coming up because just, it works so well, and then they just decide to stop doing it. But I think watching a game like tonight versus the 76ers, it's extra frustrating because, this isn't the Orlando Magic or the Cleveland Cavaliers who you've played this year, obviously, a bunch. And when you play these teams, like it doesn't matter if you put Jalen Smith, Patrick Williams, and Vooch out there, you're outskilled you're outsized by those teams. Like, they're so much bigger than you. Well, Joel Embiid is nowhere to be seen in this game. And the 76ers, like, they don't have a dominating big man. So offensively, to just then, like, to have all that success and then just to stop doing it, it's just really strange in this game of all games when you're really just, it's just so obvious that that's the key to success. I mean, Kobe White shouldn't be afraid to drive to the lane. There's no one that's really threatening him. Same with Lavine or Lonzo or Giddey. Like, they just don't do it. And that goes back to the Patrick Williams thing too. He's so hell-bent. That's why I think, like, the comment here is very accurate. Like, Patrick can't dribble without getting it swiped. It's part of the problem, is I think he knows he literally is incapable of getting to the rim without losing the basketball and forcing a turnover for the Bulls. But they just decide, like, they're not going to do it. And on a night like this, like, it really is just truly baffling. And I think the most frustrating part of the Bulls right now is, like, as they get close to blowing this thing up, they're doing the things that, like, I think I mentioned this, right? I mentioned this after the team meeting. So if you were listening, if you weren't, I'll revisit it here quickly for a second. When I hear about a team meeting, like, I know the season's over. You're cooked, you're done, you have no shot to rebound. And since that team meeting, what we've seen is a bunch of really bad performances that are even worse, to kind of prove my point, to give me a W in the column. Nikola Vucevic is kicking the check-in desk and scaring Stacey King and Adam Amin and knocking down their waters because he's so frustrated. You have Ayo Dosunmu talking about being frustrated and angry after the last game because of the way they're playing defensively, offensively. Like, they say the right things, they act the right way, but when the whistle blows, like, all that stuff just vanishes. And that, to me, is why none of it really matters. It doesn't really impact the game of basketball because it's always team meetings, anger, things like that after poor performances against bad teams or just bad performances against good teams. Like they're just empty words. And the Bulls have kind of just been, putting that nail in their own coffin. And look, they'll be out of the play-in tournament, most likely by the time the trade deadline's here in just a handful of days. If they're not, it's because Philadelphia, who also hadn't won a single game on the second night of a back-to-back, they're 0-6 on the year coming into this game, and then they beat you, shows you where the Bulls are and versus where the 76ers are, but they're going to pass them. I would be, unless Philly really just can't get it going, and, like, this was their one win because it was the Bulls, like maybe the Bulls will be hanging on by a thread, but I would be really surprised if when the trade deadline's actually here and the Bulls do, assuming they unload all these guys, the way they're playing right now, they'll be out of the play-in tournament, which should just add to, like, the idea that you're going to just trade these guys, that there's no reason to try to do it, to try to run it back and keep it going, and you should just take the best offers that are on the table for Lavine, Vooch. I'm kind of changing my tone on Lonzo just because I want them to, like, totally blow it up at this point. Patrick Williams, if you can find a team that will take him, which, again, like, I don't know which would, but, like, if he can help facilitate a trade, that might be a guy like Patrick Williams if he's a part of a 3-team deal and goes to one of the worst teams in the NBA, just to give them a young, piece. But really, the Bulls are just getting a bad contract that expires. That might be the only way you unload him. But it's all words, no action for the Bulls, and that's, again, where they talk about playing better in the paint. They challenge Patrick Williams. I'm beating up on him a lot tonight. But, we're challenging him to rebound more, be better offensively, and be better defensively. Those are Billy Donovan's words. And then he just keeps starting them. And I know Kobe White's out, but start Jalen Smith. Start Modest Buzelis. Like if Patrick Williams is going to put up these kind of performances and you're stuck with them and you're going to call him out as a coach, like, you also, just like the players in their players meeting, it's all empty words right now. Like, that's why there's, not the belief that it's going to change. And that's why in this game, to see them have that success in the paint and then just bail on it, it just, again, like, it's illogical. It makes no sense. It's bad coaching. It's bad playing. All of it's bad. And I think it's even worse, not just the offensive side, but to be outscored by the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, think about who these guys in the post are. I mean, not just who these guys in the post are. Like, it's, Eric Gordon is getting you for 13. Kelly Oubre is going 9 for 18 from the field. So he's 7 of 13 from the field outside of the three-point line. So he's getting what he wants at will all the time. Tyrese Maxey was, like, not super efficient in this game. He was pretty good. I mean, 31 points on 23 shots. That's pretty solid for him, but he's just blowing right past you on every single time. And they're pointing out on the broadcast, too, it's not just the paint stuff. They kept running the same play over and over again. It was a double screen for Tyrese Maxey or for Eric Gordon or one of these guys at the top of the key, and they just kept killing it. But to be outscored by the 76ers in the paint, it also just shows an overall lack of, this is where I think it's fair to call out effort. Like, you are a bigger, better basketball team on the inside for sure than the 76ers were tonight. There's not even a question that the Bulls in the paint were the more talented basketball team. So on both ends of the court. So to be outscored 54-44 in the paint, it's just all bad. It's all bad for the Chicago Bulls. The trade deadline can't get here enough because I'm ready just to watch these young guys go. Because even like Modest Buzelis, we'll mention him again in the next segment when we do our best and worst, because I think he's the only best stuff from tonight. Maybe the Josh Giddey play, we'll get a mention there as well. But it's just overall a really terrible performance again for the Chicago Bulls as their season continues to just unravel and really gets to the point where I cannot imagine what Bulls fans, the apathy that already kind of exists, and from what I feel doing these shows and watching this team and seeing the online interaction about this team that already exists, that if for some reason they didn't totally blow this thing up, what the feelings would be besides being fully checked out. But because I did think you saw like a couple positive things from your young players tonight, specifically Modest Buzelis, who I can't wait to see in the dunk contest as long as he doesn't embarrass himself. The Bulls are getting ready for it. They putting a video up on him doing a windmill during the pregame dunk line or layup line, so they're ready for it. So maybe we'll get that this season. Like maybe the best moments of the year will be Derrick Rose night, which I think I called that one on the money too, that was the peak of the Bulls season, and it would not get any better than that. That's for damn sure, and it got worse so fast for the Chicago Bulls. All right, final segment coming up next. What are the best and worst moments of tonight's 109-97 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, where are the Chicago Bulls to a brutal 19-27 on the season, right as the trade deadline is getting here. It's getting here quick. So we'll get into the best and worst next year on the Locked On Bulls postcast on the Locked On Sports Chicago YouTube channel. Therapy is a game changer. It can help manage stress, improve sleep, and communicate more effectively. But finding the right therapist, fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be a challenge. That's where TALKSPACE comes in. TALKSPACE, the leading virtual therapy provider, makes getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable. With TALKSPACE, signing up is simple. You can match with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours, and it's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, TALKSPACE is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's a $0 copay. It's never been easier to prioritize mental health. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with TALKSPACE when you go to TALKSPACE.com/LockedOnNBA and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE 80 to match with a licensed therapist today. Go to TALKSPACE.com/LockedOnNBA and enter promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's TALKSPACE.com/LockedOnNBA, promo code SPACE80. All right, best and worst moments of tonight's game. Best moments. What do we got here? The Josh Giddey play, again, where he gets the ball knocked away, goes up, grabs it, floats it in there as the shot clock is expiring, gets the and one, converts the and one. That's one for sure. The steal that Giddey had, that Vooch ended up, grabbing in the end. The transition big dunk and the alley-oop to Zach Lavine was a nice play. What else do we got here from best moments of the game? I guess that's pretty much it. Maybe, I'll give Lonzo Ball the three that made it a 2-point game there in the fourth quarter when it felt like the Bulls still had a fighting chance at 93-91. That'll be the other best moment of the game. Worst moments of the game. These are easy to do right now. That's why we started these segments, because the Bulls are not in great to talk about right now. Worst moments of tonight's 109-97 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's go back to the beginning of the second quarter, when the turnover stuff starts to become a problem for the Bulls. It's like you can tell early on in this game, turnovers are going to be a big storyline that are going to be probably the reason why the Bulls lose. Second quarter, Taylor Horton-Tucker in his limited minutes, he's driving to the paint, recklessly airmails the ball and throws it way out of bounds. Terrible pass, terrible decision from THT in that moment. I despise that play from 90% of NBA players, I would say. There are not that many players that do the drive and kick or drive and quickly abandon the drive to pass effectively. I would not put Taylor Horton-Tucker as one of the guys who does it well. He's a bowling ball when he goes to the hoop, and really the scoring that was like kind of popping up earlier in the season occasionally really has vanished. I mean, he only took 4 shots in this game, only played 8 minutes, but when you end up on the worst list of a game and you only play 8 minutes, that turnover probably plays a big factor in why he's part of the worst of this game. And then we go all the way, we'll just go right back to the fourth quarter here, because the fourth quarter is really where all the bad stuff continued to happen. That's where Tyrese Maxey really, again, continued to take over this game. Zach Lavine gets called for a carry, which, I totally agree with Zach Lavine with his reaction on the court, just being he's like, you could clearly see him say what to the referee, because astonishing. I think it's a good observation from Adam Amin to compare it to holding in the NFL or in college football, where there's always holding on every single play. There's a carry on every single play. They just don't call it. So it's always strange when they do. Because even just watching this game tonight, there was 3 or 4 times I was watching it, whether the Bulls or the 76ers, I was like, travel. Are they gonna call? They just don't call travels, and they shouldn't, because there's no point. Because again, the players always travel, the players always carry. But to get a carry in a close fourth quarter, brutal, when you're getting dominated, to then 2 possessions later, after they had, or this is before the Lonzo 3, the Bulls get a shot clock violation. Actually, and I missed one too that I'll revisit here. You get a shot clock violation in the fourth quarter. The other one that's brutal and one of the worst moments of tonight's game is, while it's a best moment for the fans in attendance, because they all got Portillo's hot dogs because of the 2 missed free throws. To have 2 missed free throws in the fourth quarter from the Philadelphia 76ers, and then to allow them to get a rebound in that moment is just a bad performance. I don't think the 76ers even did anything with it after that, because the ball went out of bounds. But that's 3 straight possessions. The carry, the missed free throws, and the 76ers still getting a rebound, followed up by the Bulls shot clock violation. And then you get the Josh Giddey terrible turnover, where he's just driving the lane, throws it over his shoulder. It's turned over. It's an easy bucket for the 76ers going away. That was right there the moment, I would say, is the nail in the coffin, because that put them up 7 at that point after Tyrese Maxey had scored 7 straight points by himself for the Philadelphia 76ers. So those are the worst moments of the game. There were a lot to choose from. I probably missed about 15 of them because there's so many bad ones. And yeah, this is just who the Bulls are at this point in the season. They are, really a bad basketball team. I think back to early in the season doing these shows and, calling them at least they were a fun basketball team. That's the other part that sucks right now. That's gone away, because there was a lot of those games early on where, and not just the 20-point, 18, 19-point comebacks that were happening at the beginning of the season, but there were just a lot of games where at least they were fun to watch as they were losing some of those games. I feel like that has been totally evaporated for Bulls fans at this point, where they are just not a enjoyable watch. Yes, we're going to watch them. Of course, we still love them. We're great fans. I think what Bulls fans doing, you see a Saturday night at the United Center, it's incredible. The fact that the Bulls are this bad at home this year, they moved to, let's see if this is updated here, 8-16 at home on the season. That's terrible. 8-16 at home. I mean, and the fans just keep showing up. I give them credit, especially with everything that's going on right now with TV and all this stuff and players about to get traded, just the state of the franchise, and to be that bad at home and to be playing a really rough stretch of basketball to show up like they did when Joel Embiid's not even on the court, so it's not like you're even there for the other guys. I give Bulls fans a lot of credit, man, because it's just been a really quick spiral out of control for this team. So thank you to Bulls fans for showing up for that. Thank you for showing up to this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're here These shows will, I think, be a lot more fun after the trade deadline because the young players will most likely play. I say that because I'm still not totally convinced that like Billy Donovan unloads unloads Zach Lavine and Vooch, and like Modest Buzella starts playing a ton no matter how bad it looks. I'm still not totally convinced that happens, but hopefully it does. So come on over. If you listen on audio, hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. We'll be here after every Bulls game, every Cubs game, and then we'll be back for football season, of course, as well for Notre Dame and for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. So brighter days ahead, hopefully, for not just the Bulls, but for everything in Chicago. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Bulls YouTube channel as well. They do great content every single day, especially as we get ramped up here near the deadline, and the Locked On Bulls audio feed, where our audio is available as well on Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Just search Locked On Bulls, and you'll be able to find it. You'll see our POSTCAST logo for these specific shows. But again, the Locked On Bulls stuff is there every single day, 5 days a week for you. All the Bulls content you want right there for you. So that'll do it for us. Thank you for watching. My name's Joe George. Talk to you next time after the next game on Monday night. So for now, peace.